Bear down, Chicago Bears. Did I just predict the future? You're right. I did predict the future. Justin Fields is going to be an MVP of the NFL. And you know what? It's going to be with the Chicago Bears. It's going to happen in 2024. Now, since I've called this, a lot of people are going to be like, that's absolutely asinine. That's absolutely crazy. We want that short guy, Caleb Williams. We want him to be the guy. We don't want Justin Fields, et cetera, et cetera. And then some of you are going to be like, you know what? That actually makes a lot of sense. But you can't be like crazy like that, right? Well, why not go for it? You know what? Here's the thing. Justin Fields feels like he has the ability to be the MVP of this league. DJ Moore feels like he has the ability to be the MVP of this league. All of these guys are playing to be the MVP of the NFL. All of these guys think that they have the ability and the confidence level to accomplish that. Otherwise, what are they doing in the NFL? So if you're coming at me telling me that there is no chance, then I'm here to tell you, not so fast, my friends. But before we get started, I think we do have to take a few moments here to recognize that there's something that we should all at least consider. And I don't know if you do or if you do not, but if you do, now would be a good time to pray for Steve McMichael. He's been hospitalized with an infection in his battle with ALS, and so far, from what I understand, it's not looking great. He's been treated. They're certainly hopeful. So we are really, really hoping and praying for the well-being of Mongo and bear down. So please, if you will, keep Steve McMichael in your prayers. Remember, this is a legend from the 1985 Chicago Bears. And let's move on from that because that's anyway. In more, I don't want to say this is bad news at this point, but it is the end of an era. Bojack Eddie Jackson has been released by the Chicago Bears. So has Cody Whitehair. Now at $13.5 million and at $18.4 million, these two guys were very expensive and were great players for this team for a time. And we owe a lot to them. They give us a lot of enjoyment in their games over the last bunch of years. So I wish them well in their future endeavors and hope nothing but the best for these guys. But confirmation from the Chicago Bears that they have moved on. And that being said, Clay Harbor did step in and give us kind of a rundown here. The Bears have saved $21.7 million in cap with the moves. They are now third in the NFL with more than $70 million after draft picks. The effective cap space will be around $55 million. By the way, I do want to stress that I have done another. A lot of people, many people are probably going to say this is the most perfect job of drafting that's ever been done because I'm doing the drafting. And as you guys know, you saw it yesterday. I absolutely crushed the draft. I made in my draft today. I do want to say this. I made a bold move at the number one selection. You know what my number one move is. You know who I want at number one. However, I drafted down from the number 9. Instead of taking that number 9, I wanted to accumulate a few more picks. And not only did I drop from the 9th pick all the way down to the 20th pick while picking up a lot more. Wait until you see who I got at the number 20 pick. It was one of my guys, one of the guys that if you follow me for any length of time, this was one of the guys on my radar. And we're going to be talking about that position today. However, I feel like I was able to fulfill that one in the draft for the future. And again, great job, Bleeves. Thank you. And anyway, so let's move on from this one. Guys, you'll never believe who's back in the league. And he's with Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh has signed this old hat right here, Mark Trestman, to the Los Angeles Chargers coaching staff. He is the senior offensive assistant. Shane Day is the quarterback's guy. So you can see the lineup right there that Jim Harbaugh's gone with. Still can't believe Jim Harbaugh is going to the Los Angeles Chargers and not the Chicago Bears. Still just seems a little bit crazy to me, a little bit odd. But here we are. Also, This is the big one right here. And this is what I want to talk about. I wanted to skip through here. I want to get to free agency because we've got some options. We can pass that B like Stockton uh, for edge rushers. Now, it's no secret that one of the glaring weaknesses, glaring problems with the 2023 Chicago Bears was edge rushing, which was solved in part with the addition of Montez Sweat. However, Yannick Ngakoue, we felt like when Montez Sweat really started to get a push, and when he really started to make some moves, and when he really started to come around, then we felt like Yannick Ngakoue might maybe, and I think to be fair, I think before getting injured, Yannick Ngakoue had one of his best games as a Chicago Bear. So it's possible that this team would look vastly different. Unfortunately, Yannick got injured. Remember, by the way, Yannick Ngakoue had averaged at least 7.5 interceptions his entire career until last year when he was injured. So, the thinking was that maybe this pairing was going to work out very, very well. It just didn't. DeMarcus Walker then stepped in, did an okay job, but DeMarcus Walker is not an everyday guy. He's not an everyday back. So we need somebody who can fill that position of edge defender and really collapse that pocket in a way that pushes the quarterback into the pocket so that the defensive tackles can scoop up those sacks, right? Or if he evades and goes one way or another, there's an edge rusher right there to take that sack and get that guy. Montez Sweat, obviously, killing the game at this point, but who are some other options at the edge defender position? And then what does it look like? Because remember, we have $70 million right now. After draft, about $55 million, with probably between 20 and 25, most likely close to 25, earmarked for just Jalen Johnson. Let's not forget, Jalen Johnson is going to be an expensive get for the Chicago Bears. So let's assume we have about 35 million. Let's call it 30 million to work with, and that's what we're looking for. Josh Allen from the Jacksonville Jaguars. Let's do real quick. We'll pull up so that we have an idea of what these edge defenders are going to cost. We'll get an idea of what that's going to look like. Edge rushers right here. There we go. So there's our cap allocation for, oh, Jesus. All right. So let's do players. I think maybe we should probably look at that. We should probably look at that by position here. Edge rusher. All teams. And what we want is all, and then we want positions of edge. There we go. And we'll update that. So what we're looking for is just, and to clarify here, this is a very expensive position. So just to give you an idea here, this is your this is your cost for some of these guys. Okay, so we're talking Josh Allen. Allen backed up a strong 2022 with an extraordinary 2023, racking up career highs in quarterback pressures and 19 sacks, coupled with a 20.5% pass rush win rate that was among the league's best. So now the question would be, does Josh Allen have any opportunity here for, let's do free agents here. I guess we should probably look at free agents. Do we have any opportunity here for picking this guy up? And, there's really, I think, no chance here. He's going to be held up. Remember, he's making $5.65 million. He's 26.6 years old. I don't think there's any opportunity here for Josh Allen to be picked up by the Chicago Bears, because that cost would be $25 to $30 million. Because let's remember here, Josh Allen, he outperformed Montez Sweat. So we're looking at a $30 million guy, maybe. Remember Khalil Mack, $38 million. We were just looking at that. $38 million was his cost on that. So it's very possible this is just out of our range. So now we have to start looking at who's next, what are the other options right here. His pass rush grade, by the way, 89.4, true rating 91.4. Let's go to Brian Burns here. Brian Burns, he is grading out a little bit less, but more likely available at the Bearscast. Brian Burns. Then you have Daniel Hunter, and you have Bryce Huff. In fact, I would think that Bryce Huff is probably our number one guy overall, but probably expensive. Daniel Hunter also expensive in the 25 million range. I'm not sure. I mean, who do you guys think? Here's what I think. I think that the Bears are going to end up going with Chase Young. I think that most probably you can get him at not even a discount, but a more reasonable amount because he didn't have the best year last year. He's an unrestricted free agent. He probably has a great opportunity to perform, especially since he's familiar with Montez Sweat. That gives him kind of an inroad. Then you have John Grenard from Louisville. And I think he played for Florida as well after, but he's an edge rusher as well. Doesn't grade out nearly as well. And I don't think that this guy really kind of rates in that realm, but also available Jadeveon Clowney. You guys probably saw me in my conversations about underperforming athletes, and I don't think that Jadeveon Clowney was really one of those. He was supposed to be, by the way, a generational talent. This is when we were talking about Caleb Williams not being the generational talent because Merrill Hodge said that he didn't see it. He was also right about Jadeveon Clowney, saying that he didn't have the mental makeup to make it as a great player in the NFL. And look, not for nothing. There's a fantastic athlete that just does not grade out as high as his talent level. His talent level was to the moon and back. Jadeveon Clowney. I think I even played for you guys. Jadeveon Clowney tackling somebody before the ball was even handed off at one point. I played for South Carolina Gamecocks, by the way. Just took plays off. Just was able to take plays off. Wasn't pushed. And when he got pushed in the NFL, he didn't respond very well. So I don't think that. Look, I think that he can be a great player and still has some availability to become a great player in the league, but he just hasn't lived up to the hype yet. Zadarius Smith from the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns really basically the number one offense or defense in the league last year. And this guy could come in. He converted into a 1-year pact for $11.67 million. He vastly outplayed once again. That's the point right there, is that, he's outplaying his contract, which means that he's going to get some big money. Josh Uche for the New England Patriots, he's going to get paid as well. So these are the guys that we're looking at. This is their here's market value. Like, that's the big question, right? Like, what's the market value for Daniel Hunter? Daniel Hunter's average salary looks to be in that $20 million range. And you can see right here, the guys that are making the most right now: TJ Watt, $28 million a year, Joey Bosa, $27 million, Rashawn Gary, $24 million, Shaquille Barrett, $17 million. So, anybody else have a problem with this? Back button on Chrome never seems to work anymore. Anyway, so this is what we're paying people. So, the question becomes like, who's the guy? Who's the person that can bring you in here? So now that's where we start to reach, and that's where we look at Chase Young. Well, what's the market value on a Chase Young? $13 million. Now you're talking. This is the number. This is who we're looking at, and this is why we're looking at him, because he checks out as a potential superstar that just hasn't really kind of fleshed his way out yet to really have that sort of breakout. So if that's the case, then maybe we can be the ones that sort of break him out of that. So that's the guy that I would be looking at. Again, familiarity with Montez Sweat goes a long way. Now, however, anybody else annoyed by the fact that Leonard Floyd is with the Bills after, look, and by the way, it should be fair to say that Leonard Floyd grossly underperformed. while he was here in Chicago. But we all felt the talent. We all knew that he was going to put it together at some point. It's a shame that he put it together somewhere else. And shout out to Leonard Floyd, just absolutely killing the game at this point, having a great time, doing a great job. But so we need some edge options here. Let me know who you think it should be in the comment section, because, I have no idea what they're going to do. I do think that Chase Young, by virtue of his youth, by virtue of the fact that, I think he's going to be put to the test with Eric Washington in this defense. I think that, and he's going to want to be challenged, and he'll probably want to be by his friend. And, if we have that synergy in that relationship, then I get the sense and the feeling that maybe, just maybe, this is going to be our guy. But there are a lot of different options that are available to us. So we'll see what happens. And now let's break down some of these mock drafts, because some of these people are just like, oh God, they're just, so the CBS pulled out their own little mock draft here, and it was here. And it was Caleb Williams being selected number 1, but apparently they converted it to video. So we're not going to be talking about that. We're going to go to Sports Mockery right away, and we'll talk about this one. This is actually a fantastic draft. This is really, really interesting to me, how this one completely played out. So checking this one out. This is a trade. Justin Fields and a third in 2024 to Pittsburgh for the 20th overall pick. So that's what ended up happening in this one. And this guy's projecting, by the way, the entirety of what's going on. He's projecting out a lot of this stuff. Cody Whitehair, Eddie Jackson being cut. We already knew that. Then we've got the re-signs and the extensions on Jalen Johnson, Justin Jones, Equinemius St. Brown, Josh Blackwell, Greg Stroman, Dylan Cole, and Patrick Scales. And we're going to put him in timeout. So sorry about that, guys. So Josh Blackwell, Greg Stroman, Dylan Cole, Patrick Scales. Free agency. The idea here is that the Bears will pick up. And by the way, fascinating what the Bears are in fact going to do in this draft analysis here. Gardner Minshew, it's as a quarterback on a 1-year, $9 million contract. AJ Epinesa for 3 years, $21 million. I'll take that. Julian Blackmon, 2 years, $11.5 million. Center Evan Brown, a 1 year for $4.5, and running back AJ Dillon, a 1 year for $4 million. These are good deals right here. And by the way, adding this into this team actually turns this into very intriguing thing. But here's the draft. The important part that we're here to talk about. Number 1, they're going to trade the number 1 pick to Washington for the number 2 pick and the number 40 pick. And then they're going to trade the number 2 to New England for the 34 and the second in 2025. Really good trades right there. But the first thing that they're going to do is take Marvin Harrison with the number 1 pick, which would be the number 3 pick overall. People debate who the best quarterback is in the draft. Nobody argues who the best prospect is. It is virtually unanimous that Harrison Jr. is a blue chip prospect. By the way, I got an alert. Somebody had made a comment. They left a comment on one of my videos, and the things they said in the video was, you said that it's not unanimous that Caleb Williams is a generational talent, but Marvin Harrison Jr. is not also unanimous that he's a blue chip prospect. Yeah, he is. And here we go again. The next people up, they're all saying it too. Like, everybody's saying it. So Steve Smith Sr. recently said he is better than his Hall of Fame father. That should tell you how absurdly gifted the kid is. Size, strength, speed, route running skills, soft hands. He has everything you could possibly want in a go-to receiver. Put him next to DJ Moore, and that passing attack is tantamount to cheating. Okay, so then the Bears then reach down at the 20 pick and go for J.J. McCarthy. Now, that is going to be a controversial pick if that were to happen. If something like this were to happen after you've traded Justin Fields away and you've got Gardner Minshew, like, people are going to be freaking out if that were to happen, right? And then you pick up J.J. McCarthy. Now, here's the thing about J.J. McCarthy. He's from the region. So, the cool thing is this would be a guy. This move would be all sorts of controversial. So why would the Bears do it? McCarthy checks so many boxes for this regime. He has a desired height, a good arm, throws with accuracy, protects the ball, and can make plays beyond that. Yet it's the intangibles where he shines. He's ice cold under pressure, playing his best in big games. He plays with poise and moxie. By most accounts, McCarthy is an outstanding leader. Last but not least, he is a local kid from LaGrange Park. Polls love adding homegrown talent. He lost one game in college and won a national championship. The primary concern with him is his overall lack of passing reps. He threw the ball only 713 times at Michigan. That's why many feel he might need to sit for a time before starting, hence the signing of Gardner Minshew. So what we're saying here basically is that J.J. McCarthy becomes the draft pick, and then after he becomes the draft pick, that you bring in Gardner Minshew in order to run the offense to start this new coaching staff. To me, that sounds like a recipe for Matt Eberflus. We wish you well in your future endeavors. It sounds to me like Ryan Poles probably gone as well. This sounds to me like this is not a winning combination. However, maybe Tyson Bagent steps up. Who knows? In this scenario, it's very interesting, by the way. I'm not, by the way, against this in any way, because you've also picked up another pick for the first round, and you're going with Jackson Powers Johnson. So you've shored up your offensive line. You've shored up, maybe you haven't shored up quarterback, but you've gone in a different direction at quarterback. And then you have Marvin Harrison Jr. So you're going to make this team a lot better, and it's going to be a lot easier. So then you have Darius Robinson. He was a one-year wonder for the Missouri Tigers, exploded in 2023 for 8.5 sacks and 14 tackles for loss. He then showed at the Senior Bowl that it wasn't a fluke, showcasing his unique mix of size, length, and athleticism. So do we get the edge rusher that we're looking for in the second round from Darius Robinson at Missouri? This might be a fantastic play. I'm excited about it. In fact, yesterday we picked Braden Fisk, defensive tackle from Florida State. That was one of our drafts in yesterday's draft that we did. So the best pass rushes are those that can attack an offense in waves. Having solidified their edges, the Bears moved to the interior. Fisk was a consistent menace at the Seminoles over the last 2 years. He's average in size, but is strong, quick, and has a nonstop motor. He's a menace down the stretch of last season and carried that into a great week at the Senior Bowl. So, and we had picked up Braden Fisk yesterday at the defensive tackle position. So, and by the way, you're going to see some of the people that we've already gone through starting to get picked up here, because these are the guys, and we'll see what happens. So, Kalen King, cornerback from Penn State. I don't know if I picked him, but I feel like maybe he was today's pick. But he doesn't have the size or speed. Actually, no. He doesn't have the size or speed teams will covet early in the draft, but he has enough of both to still be an effective player. His biggest strengths are his excellent instinct, play recognition, ball skills, willingness to tackle the run game. All those traits fit into his Bears defense. I disagree that this is a guy, because if you've got Jalen Johnson coming back, and you've got Terrell Smith, and you've got Tyreek Stevenson, you're kind of done at cornerback. You don't need another cornerback. So I'm not sure that this is the move that I would make. This is the only one that I would really kind of question here. But I mean, he's calling it's his draft. Fourth round, Marshawn Lloyd, the running back from USC. Guys, I told you a couple days ago that Marshawn Lloyd would be a good pickup at running back. So a shout out to that. And then the fourth round, which is one that I picked on today, was safety Jaden Hicks out of Washington State. Blackman should serve well as the team's new free safety, because remember, they picked him up, but there's no crime against building the depth behind him. Hicks is an athletic and instinctive player with a knack for creating takeaways. That's exactly what you want. And hey, what's wrong with having another J in the Chicago Bears lineup? If we're going to have Jalen Johnson and we're going to have Jaquan, then why not have one more? Let's have Jaden in there. You know what I mean? Then in the fifth round, you pick up a little depth at Cornelius Johnson, wide receiver from Michigan, won a national title. These are the kind of guys that you want to pick up. These are guys that know how to win, so why not pick somebody up? Then you get a backup here, Theo Johnson. Size, speed, and hands appear to be a viable weapon in the passing game, but he was never deployed in that way. It might take some time to reach his potential, but he would make a terrific developmental option behind Cole Kmet. And again, if you're bringing Mercedes Lewis back, which probably ends up being, because it's only $1 million to bring back Mercedes Lewis for that final year, so your two tight end sets, I mean, you're going to be running the ball in those, but bringing in Theo Johnson as kind of what do you call it, as a change of pace, maybe a decent enough option. So, but let's move on to that because his draft was only okay. Mine, in fact, was the most superior draft in the history of people who have ever done drafts. Again, I'm just crushing the game, guys. Just absolutely killing it. Just out here making it happen. So here's the full results. I took Marvin Harrison at number 1. After Marvin Harrison at number 2, Joe Alt, then Caleb Williams, then Drake May, Terrion Arnold, Brock Bowers, Dallas Turner, Luatu Latu. And then when I got here, I went ahead and traded down to the number 20 pick, Olufashanu. I've already got my wide receiver. I've already gotten the guy that catches the ball. So, I'm just going to trade down. I'm going to take a shot here. Roma Dunzi goes to the Jets, Jaden Daniels, LSU, Quinya Mitchell, Jerzon Newton, Talise Fuaga. Then I get to the 20 pick right here, and I get Jared Verse, which is my edge rusher at I get my edge rusher here at the number 20 pick. So yeah, and remember, there's a lot of people who are just absolute boneheaded donkeys who would say you don't take the best player. You take the guy that I like. You take the 6'1" guy who cries to his mommy on the field because that's how you win ball games. Remember that when you're reading chat. So then moving on here, we move on to the second round. And in the second round, I take Xavier Worthy out of Texas, wide receiver, because we're going to need depth, but we don't need a whole bunch of starters. And remember, Equinemius St. Brown's going to be gone. Darnell Mooney's going to be gone. So Jalen Polk also brought in. So now my wide receiving core, my wide receiving core is now complete, I think. And then I take Jonathan Brooks at 75, running back out of Texas. And then at 110, I get Jaden Hicks, also the same as this other guy, safety out of Washington State. Again, that's my backup safety, just in case. And then I go for guard Layden Robinson out of Texas A&M. And then Bo Limmer, which is a center potential development project out of Arkansas to provide a little bit of depth. So there we have it. And why would you take Marvin Harrison when they can easily trade down? Because in this draft simulator, you know what? Let's do it. Okay, so if I do this, and if I do this, and I take the Bears, and then I hit the draft here, let's just say I trade down to the number 4 pick right here, right? I'm going to accept that. Marvin Harrison Jr. is gone with the number 2 pick in this draft, but let's redo it one more time. It really, I think maybe it comes down to the draft simulator here. It was updated today, by the way, with new ratings and stuff like that. But again, it's always evaluating. It's always changing it. So if I trip to the 3 pick here, let's accept that. So we got Drake May, Caleb Williams, and then in this instance, I can get Marvin Harrison. But that's not actually consistent because if I keep doing this over and over again, and I keep looking at this thing from a draft perspective, I reject that. I'm going to reject that. I'm going to reject that one. I'm going to reject that one because I know I'm going to get one from one of the top teams. Let's see if, we're getting a number 3 pick here. So we accept that and see number 1, Marvin Harrison Jr. goes number 1. Too many times in this draft, as I trade down, I kept losing the opportunity to get Marvin Harrison Jr. because over and over again in this draft, it seems like the New England Patriots are on the clock, and the New England Patriots you're not 100% sure that the New England Patriots want, or at least this draft simulator is not entirely sure that the Patriots are all in on either Caleb or Drake May. So that's why, and it seems like it throws a monkey wrench into it every single time. So now I'm left with, what am I going to do here? Drake May, Joe Alt, Olufashanu, something like that. Trading down to me would be, let's just say I took Brock Bowers right here. Then I moved down to this 9 pick, and let's just say I reject it. And then I reject this one. And now who is available after that? Well, now I got Roma Dunzi. So what I just got in this draft was Brock Bowers and Roma Dunzi. That's what it is. And that's the reason that each one of these, because each one of these drafts ends up just a little bit different. The teams are not always taking the same people, and they're not offering the same packages and stuff like that. So in this instance, it actually ends up pretty good because I ended up with Brock Bowers and I ended up with Roma Dunzi, which I think that these are very talented guys and very talented athletes that can probably work themselves out. So, Mike Jameson says here, trade down to 3. Well, that's exactly what I try to do a lot of times because I think that that's the logical move. So, so if I trade down to here, Caleb Williams, Drake May, this one works out perfect. So I take Marvin Harrison Jr. and then I get to the 9 pick. Here's the thing right here. So this one changes the dynamic of it because it's a favorable one, by the way, for if we're doing this. So we've got Marvin Harrison Jr. The 9 pick, I can trade down to the 10 pick or the 72, and I can see right here, I got Brock Bowers available. I got Malik Neighbors, and I got Roma Dunzi. So I'm going to take this trade, and then I'm going to reject this one. But now I've got at the number 9, they took J.J. McCarthy. At the number 10, what am I going to take here? So Brock Bowers or Malik Neighbors? That becomes the question. Now, when it comes down to these, I've got Marvin Harrison Jr. Let's go Brock Bowers. Let's take Brock Bowers and see what happens here. Next pick is at 34. And let's just reject that. So now I've got Bo Nix, Brian Thomas, Kamari Laster, Leonard Taylor, Jordan Morgan, Tyler Nubin, Darius Robinson. There's Darius Robinson. Let's take Darius Robinson. That was the guy that we had that had the elite talent before. So, but again, I mean, the point is a lot of these will kind of throw you a loop because you really don't know until you get there exactly what they're going to do. You don't know, and you don't know who the best player is going to be available. You don't know, which person is going to fit what position, et cetera, et cetera. So, you're just kind of flying blind and making a guess here every single time. So, shoring up the wide receivers. And let's take a prospect from Yale because that's where they're getting all the good players coming in from Yale. We're going to accept that trade because we get an extra pick off of it. And then we come back up here, and then we've got Jalen Wright. We're getting the running back from Tennessee. And then we're getting Roger Rosengarten because you never have too many tackles. We want to get rid of Larry Borum, obviously. Personally, I would take the potential quarterback prospect for the dynasty. Well, that means that you got to take number 1, 2, or 3 in this for the most, well, the number 1 or 2 for the most part. And that would be considering, or just if you decided in your brain that Caleb Williams at 6'1", crying to his mom, is your best prospect. It's not clear that he's the best player in this draft. It's not clear that he's the best prospect, even at his own position. It's fairly clear that Marvin Harrison Jr. is the best of this draft. Unless you want to argue because, I like quarterback. I like Caleb Williams. Look, if you're gay for a quarterback, you're gay for a quarterback. It's okay. You do you, boo-boo. You want to cry about, I want Caleb. He wants you to. But that's not really, or doesn't appear to be like reality. The reality here is that Marvin Harrison is the best player. So if he's the best player, then why are you not focused on getting the best player? The only exception to that rule generally is when you have a quarterback option. I'm really not bashing Caleb Williams. If Caleb Williams is the quarterback, I don't care. At the end of the day, I'm just picking on you guys who are like Caleb sexual for him. I mean, like if like Judah, like he cries here every day, like, I just want to see Caleb take a shower or whatever he does. I don't know how he thinks in his brain. I just assume that that's the case because he puts a lot of effort into making sure that Caleb is his guy. But it really doesn't matter because at the end of the day, if you take Caleb Williams first, cool. Who do you get number 9? Do you fix the passing game? Do you improve the passing game? If you do that, go for it. If, by the way, you trade down because there are options, and if you were to, for example, let's move off of it and just do something radical, like let's go in here, let's reject that. We don't want that. But let's say the Falcons are on the clock, right? And we want the 8 and 9 pick. Let's accept this and let's see what happens. So we get Caleb Williams, Olu Fashanu, and we're going to reject that because we want to make it. We got Olu Fashanu, we got Drake May, we got Brock Bowers, we got Marvin Harrison, we got Joe Alt, we got Dallas Turner and now we got the 8 and the 9 pick. Who are we going to take for our picks, right? So we're going to go Malik Neighbors because I think he's better, or at least my opinion is he's better than Roma Dunze. And then we're going to reject that one, and we're going to reject that one, and we're going to reject that one. And then now, what are we going to do at the number 9 position? Well, we've got our guy here for fixing, and now let's go reach for JJ McCarthy. We can take JJ McCarthy at the 14 pick. It doesn't matter. And at 43, boom, 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 boom. And number 81, well, let's reject those. And then who's the best person available at this point? Jackson Powers Johnson always ends up disappearing when I decide when I'm physically going to wait until I get available at these later picks. He always seems to be gone. He ends up going a little bit earlier than I want. But offensive tackle, again, we want to prospect who we can build on the offensive line. So, I don't care. I don't care. It doesn't matter. The question that I've always, the statement that I've always made is this: if I want to make the playoffs next year, I think that Justin Fields gives us the best opportunity in the playoffs to win some games. He's got the experience in the NFL. He'll be better by virtue of having a better coach, but I don't care. At the end of the day, I'm a Chicago Bears fan, and as a Chicago Bears fan, I just give you what my opinion is. I don't come into your chat and cry about it like, I can't believe you don't like Caleb. Call me Jada. Call me Jada. You know what I mean? If you come in here crying all day long about Caleb Williams, then you're the problem. I'm not. You know what I mean? So you can like whoever you like. It's no big deal. And to be fair, if Ryan Poles goes absolutely bonkers and he drafts Jaden Daniels, cool. Drake May, all right. JJ McCarthy, let's go. Michael Penix Jr. in the second round. Let's do it, baby. I don't care. But if I were to take the fact that I think, and I do want to be right, by the way, because I have another job on YouTube, and part of my shtick is I'm always right. So I do want to be right about what I am saying. So it is possible that what I think that Justin Fields gives them a better chance to win in the playoffs, and gives the Bears in the short term a better opportunity to get to the Super Bowl. That's the reason. And you can tell me, well, I think Caleb is. So Merrill Hodge thinks that you're an idiot if you think that. So, and you know what? You think you're a genius because you figured it out that Caleb Williams is that guy. Well, the guy who picks all these babies and says that they just can't do it, they don't have the mental makeup, they don't have whatever it is, said, no, he doesn't. So, what do you do there? And, here's the thing. If you're going to grade Caleb Williams on his first game might be great. Second game might be great. Third game might be great. Fourth game might be great. Now the defenses are starting to figure him out, and they're starting to plan for him and what his tendencies are. So by the 5th and the 6th and the 7th and the 8th game, then you find out what you have, right? And that's where you find out that Patrick Mahomes is great because he adapts and he's still making those plays. Or you find out that you're just the next Bryce Young, you know what I mean? And you're just no good. You're just not good enough for whatever it is. And by the way, Bryce Young might have a successful NFL career. He just didn't have a successful NFL season. So it doesn't matter. What matters is, do you see improvement in Justin Fields enough to get to the playoffs? And that's what I think. I think that Justin Fields is the better option to get to the playoffs. And that's the extent of my give a shit. After that, and by the way, I do think that Justin Fields is a stand-up man of the community. I think that he gives his time, his effort, and he cares about the city and the people of Chicago. And the people that don't like him, they don't care about that. They just they just want to win, and none of that matters. Well, that matters to me a little bit more because. And by the way, I like Mitchell Trubisky for the same reason. He did the same thing. I didn't think he was a great quarterback, and I didn't want to keep him when his contract was up. But I mean, still, I thought that I thought that he was a good man of the community. So, and when you are, then people like you, and you get a little bit more leeway. So, and by the way, the people crying, the Bears are a very profitable team. So I don't think the McCaskies are really that desperate to find a way to make a buck, if you will, especially after they won 7 games and went 7-10. I think they feel like the progress is coming after the season before. So I think they know that they're on a good path, and that good path is going to sell out the arena, and they're gonna move some units, if you know what I mean. So that's what I think. So when like when people come in here and start crying like, I don't like Justin Fields. Oh, that's so what? Doesn't really matter what you think. Doesn't really matter what I think too, but it's my goddamn show. So I get to tell you guys, and I get to mock you, and you can't like come up here and say, well, I believe something different. Nobody gives a shit what you believe. They're not watching for you. So, you know what I mean? So that's why I just, and I like to play around with people. So that's it. That's it. And here's the good part. The good part is I get the I get the Caleb Maxis that come in, and the people who like to cry about Justin Fields. And oh my God, look, if you want to have a good time, if you want to have a great time, all I'm asking you to do is take a few moments out of your day and go watch some of these people cry about Justin Fields. Holy shit sickles. Watching people cry about Justin Fields is phenomenal. You can go to like Bears Sports Now or Chicago Now or Chicago 690 or ESPN, whatever these names of these places are. I don't watch them, so I don't know what they're called. I know that there's one called Bears Now or the ESPN Bears 690 or something like that. Go watch those and look at these same guys in there crying, I hate Justin. I don't think Justin is a good guy. I don't, you know what I mean? And it is fabulous because you can point and laugh at them, right? So, and that's cool. Now we got another place. You guys, that was my gift to you, Chicago. I gave you another place for you to come and point and laugh at these guys when they're like, I don't like Justin because he didn't make this one throw this one time or something like that. And then they'll be like, what do you mean like that? And you guys know. Anyway, we'll be off for the weekend. We'll be making a couple of content. We're going to be looking at some more draft stuff, more draft analysis. Again, shout out to Steve Mongo McMichael. Please keep him in your thoughts and prayers for this moment. He is going through some stuff. He is in the hospital. And Eddie Jackson, Cody Whitehair, shout out to those guys. They were absolutely killing the game. They did an absolutely great job for so many years. And it's a shame that it came to them getting released. We really like to see them around forever. We like to see everybody around forever. If it were up to me, Lance Briggs, Brian Urlacher, Nick Roach would still be roaming. Of course, they'd be fighting for playing time with Dick Butkus and Mike Singletary. So, nothing lasts forever. So thank you to Eddie Jackson. Thank you to Cody Whitehair. You guys killed it for a long time. We hope and wish you well and nothing but the best. And that's it. So you guys bear down. And I got a new intro, but I forgot to play it. I can't wait till Friday. Everybody's getting sideways. Pass the bottle back my way. Everybody's getting sideways. That's a song from a buddy of mine. I'm going to use it as an intro. He let me use some of his music for stuff. So you guys have a good day, and we will see you again on Monday.